What is going on, hobby people? We're back. We're back with another Flaming Dragon stream. Punkstar, hey, how's it going? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. What are you working on today? I have the third Flaming Drake right here. Soon he will look like his peers. I see the Shy Onions comments referring to last stream. That was very funny. I'm going to start with some Wild Rider. Actually, maybe before I do that, I'll get some Wild Rider out on the palette. But probably worth starting with the soft seals, as per usual. Just finishing up your Norn Emissary. Very nice. That is a bug I will get to at some point for the old High Fleet Gengar. You know, I haven't checked in the Warhammer community today if there's anything interesting. Any interesting stories. Let's take a looky-loo. Well, there's a promotional article for that big Skaven centerpiece model. Vizek Scour. Well, I will say, that's a glorious model, that's for sure. Definitely gives me the heebs. just saw your message here, Punk. I agree with the people that say AOS design team should take a crack at 40k. Yeah, I agree as well. It seems to me the AOS team has much more creative freedom, or it's either more creative freedom or less fear to upset the kind of, I don't know, the tournament landscape, because they definitely had screw-ups over the years, and I think that's led to some, maybe like a desire to just play it safe. That could be a contributing factor, right? You think of doing like weird rules interactions and releasing codexes like Votann, and you get such harsh criticism. And I'm not saying it's not founded, but I wonder if, that negatively reinforces a desire to keep rules very safe, right? And I think that in the case of Votann, that seems to be the case. Like, Votann are fine now, but at the start of 10th edition, I was like, they've completely gutted the strong values of this army going into 10th edition. I still don't think Votann are, and maybe this is just somewhat of a common thing for me, but I'm not particularly pleased with the form they've taken. I do think Votann should be a quality army, like how AdMech ought to be. I don't like this substandard skill that they're stuck with. Yeah, they shouldn't. Oh, yeah, well, okay. So as far as you think of the fantasy base qualities that these factions are rooted in, right? So in the case of Votann, they'd be the dwarven archetype, right? And of the dwarven types, Votann are certainly the engineer type of dwarves, right? They're not. They have berserks in their army as one unit, but broadly speaking, they are more of the forge mastery type of dwarves, right? And with that, like, it does mean, that we would have a skill standard actually in line with standard baseline humans, like 4+ would be what they should have. But I do think they should have a means to offset that to a quality skill standard through their army rules, through their judgment tokens in this case. They can do +1 to hit and wound, but I do think it should be a skill improvement. That way you can make use of rules like heavy with much greater consistency. Kind of like how Tau finally have gotten that treatment with their guiding system improving their skill with their weapons, which I think allows them to serve at a quality standard. And then by comparison, factions like Space Marines and Eldar that are just superhuman by their very nature, regardless of their mechanics, would just have a high skill floor, or that greater than average skill standard of 3+. I also love the idea that Votann kind of like inverse. They don't, not inverse. They align with orcs in a way where you have an army that has a better skills, a better ballistics, or sorry, a better weapon skill than their ballistic skill. Like, there's no reason why space dwarves, yeah, they could not be as dexterous with ranged weapons, hence the 4+ BS, but they could still have a quality 3+ weapon skill, like how orcs do, which I think is a little fun. However, they're much more sophisticated, of course. Then you have an interesting comparison or contrast point between them and orcs, because orcs are an army that has bad substandard BS with quality weapon skill, and they want to fight, broadly speaking. Orcs want to get in the thick of it. Whereas Votann would want to shoot, even though they would have a skill set or a skill standard that would kind of situate them to be better in melee, but because of their culture and choice of doctrines, they end up forcing themselves to fight in ranged combat or excel in ranged combat most of the time. I think that's an interesting way to characterize their faction relative to others. Ah, Punkstar, you are an orc player. That means you are fairly cultured. That's what that means. Orc players seem to, in my experience, have a higher rate of consistency with regards to enjoying the heart of the game. I don't too far, or I don't know, you don't, in my experience anyways, I don't see too many orc players, meta chasing, so to speak. As an orc player who knows other orc players, you can confirm what I said? Nice. Yeah, orc players just seem more wholesome on average, which is kind of ironic, I suppose. So, I don't know, it's interesting, like I guess the kinds of personalities that get drawn to different factions. Because there is it seems to me anyways, there seems to be a similar kind of, not a similar end result, but a similar commonality with regards to Space Wolves players being, the stereotype is that they're annoying, which is kind of funny, which is too bad. Because I think there's a cool core to the Space Wolves. You gotta do a lot of digging to kind of find it, but Caramel Apple, welcome. How's it going? How's it going? I'm an orc player as well. I love orcs. Oh, we're getting some orc camaraderie here in chat. I am an orc supporter, okay? I painted a few orcs and I enjoyed it very much. Caramel Apple says, I just ordered my first new battle wagon off eBay for 90 bucks. So I'm excited for it to rock. Nice. A battle wagon is like the orc equivalent of a Land Raider, correct? Should be here in 2 days. Ah, that's not bad at all. Punkstar says, I am correct. Nice. I am somewhat cultured in the way of greenskins. I'm going to try giving this guy a whole wash of Coburg Crimson over all the orange armor panels. Let's see what that does for the lowlights. Caramel Apple says, yee, good transport. It's The only one that Thraka can fit in. Right. If I recall correctly, he takes up a gaggle of spots, right? Silver Scratchbolt Productions, hello! Hello to you too. Thanks for tuning in. How's it going? What do you got on your hobby desk? Or are you just hanging? Which is okay too. Generally, I like to feed off of the hobby energy in chat. You know, get to keep the fires burning, so to speak. Oh, you know what? These guys have spirit stones on their wrists, which I did not paint on the other two. We'll have to circle back. Punkstar says the truck is an Orc Rhino, the battle wagon is an Orc Land Raider, and unfortunately there is no Orc Razorback. True, but Orc trucks are open topped, right? That's kind of, you know, that's something for for Space Marines. That's so awkward to me. It's like the Razorback is so disincentivized from a rules point of view, just through weird interactions with the units it can transport. And then on top of that, just open topped 2 on Rhinos just kind of turns any Rhino to a Razorback, depending on what's in it. It's very awkward. It's a shame, because the Razorback is classic. Karamappa says, yes, I'm correct, but Thraka takes 15 out of the 22 slots. Jeez. He's a big boy, though, so it makes sense. See, that's the kind of fun rules interaction that you want between units, unique, that make factions unique from one to another. Silver Scratchbolt Production says, just finished my Nurgle Warhound Titan. Oh boy, big project. The Plague Harbinger 40k scale. That sounds very impressive. Can ride around and shoot in the truck. Laugh my ass off. Yep. Indeed. I suppose the Impulsor is the modern equivalent to the Razorback. Similar transport standard and options for, you know, like a top turret or a shield or a stupid communication array, which just has the worst rules you'd ever want. Just the worst. Tramari, welcome. Well, stuck at work, please send Demon Incursion. Oh my god. Report this man. Report him to the local Inquisitor. I understand the sentiment, Tramari. All the same, I appreciate you tuning into the stream. SOS Steal Our Souls. Nice. Caramel Apple. Alright, everyone. Have a good green day. Gotta get going for now. Well, you take care, Caramel Apple. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the hobby camaraderie. We gotta do the grenade in a black base coat as well. I wonder if I should do the metal components, which are just the barrel and then that little disc in the middle, I think. If memory serves. Just posted some pictures in Discord. I'll take a look, Silver Scratch build. I'll take a look. Think I can do it live. Shouldn't muck up my OBS. Oh, wow. She big. Oh, custom banner too. Nice. Got plague weapons in there as well. We have a soft drink for scale. I like it. Definitely gives the Plague Titan vibes. Tremari says, would you be willing to post some updates on your chapter master? I'm certainly willing to. If I had known, I would have brought him with me, but I packed him away. Yeah, I can certainly share updates. I posted on my Instagram a little, I guess, what would you call it? Like an informal rotation. Nothing fancy with a turntable. Just me holding the model and basically just doing this. Which kind of reveals, or you can kind of get a good idea of the conversion of the kit bash. It's not done yet. I need to finish painting the Volkite blaster because I didn't love the custom mini meltagun I gave him from before. I think the Volkite blaster is probably more tasteful because look, I already gave him one custom weapon, right? That eviscerator in my headcanon, that's like a chapter relic, right? It's not your average chainsword. And to give a chapter master, a successor chapter master, like a unique melee weapon like that, and then to also give him a unique armor plate, because I imagine that armor is fairly high quality. It might be a relic in its own right. And I felt like giving him a miniaturized multi-melta is just too much. I kind of, and these are just my sensibilities, I kind of want my chapter master to not exceed the standards set by the epic heroes in the lore. I like him to be at that line or just under. Silver Scratchbull says, thanks, I'm going to start on a second Titan soon. Oh boy. I've never, the biggest conversion I've done is the Tyrannofex for High Fleet Gengar, I think. And that's the biggest I've gone with, like, custom stuff. The biggest model is probably the Astreus. But that's just as it comes. I added tusks, but I didn't do anything too fancy beyond that. Actually, you know what, guys? We're going to cheat a little bit because I poured out quite a lot of this silver paint. I don't want it to go to waste, right? So I'm going to use it to get some silver colors down on the fourth Flaming Drake here. What is this? Like a mold error? Might have to go in there with a knife after this dries. We might as well do the Autarch as well. Not the Autarch, the Exarch. There he is with his fire pike. Idea for a thematic list build, Space Marine 2. Thematic list build, 120 Termagants, a few card effects, and a Hive Tyrant. Yeah, certainly. There probably is some cool set pieces that'll yield some good thematic list builds. Potentially. I am very excited. We'll see if I am able. We'll do a stream test for sure, which will be a little bit of troubleshooting, I'm sure. And then take it from there. I'll see if the gamming streams are worth, or if my computer is going to start smoking or something. We'll see. Silver Scratchbuilt says, I have a Nurgle Knight 2. Need to do a few more Knights for Nurgle, so I earn 2k points of Titanic Nurgle Demon Engine list. Oh, that is certainly a labor of love. And that's the kind of stuff this hobby's made for us. That's what I like to see. I support. I appreciate what you're doing there. Tramari says I'm going to have to get off soon to pay attention to customers. Not a problem, Tramari. I appreciate you hanging out with me for the time you could. You have a good rest of your shift and enjoy the rest of your evening as well. Well, we'll try our best to send a demonic incursion, okay? We'll have my word bearers begin a ritual. We'll see if it works. Another one bites the dust. Indeed, such is life. Gonna have to start taking a battle shock test soon, guys. I don't mean to alarm you. Silver Scratchbolt says, just post the Plague Reaper Nurgle Knight in Discord. Hope you like it too. I'll take a look in a minute. Funk Star says, our starting strength is 22,000 Grimdark Enjoyers. I don't think we need to be getting Battle Shot here. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Silver Scratchbolt says, I'll play against your Elder with my Deathcore of Krieg. Oh, very cool. Yeah, that could be a... I don't think I've played a proper game against Deathcore. I have an Imperial Guard buddy who has some. A few units, but... It'll be interesting, actually, to see what the Deathcore of Krieg range is when we get to their release in the new year. How extensive it is, I mean. I imagine Guard fans know the expected units, but I'm not really an Astra Militarum guy, so I couldn't say for certain. I know they have commissars on horses, right? That's a thing, I think. They have something on horses. It could just be a commander. I don't know. But let's take a look at Scratchbolt's Nurgle Knight. Oh, this one's rad. Yeah, definitely has that demon vibe for sure. With a big kind of like cleaver. Reminds me of Diablo. What's your work flow for this? Is it green stuff or using epoxies? Very interesting how to get so much mass to stand upright. I assume there's an armature in there, right? Because like, this guy's top heavy. Silver Scratch says, I hope we get some Earthshaker platforms. Oh, I could see that happening. Guard got those new artillery pieces, which look really great. Really love the look of those. Okay, I think nearly every armor component has a bit of orange or yellow buildup at this point. So perhaps now we can do a bit of a experimental wash. It'll probably have to build back up afterwards, but that's okay, because I haven't really done things to the final standard of layers with regards to the yellow over the orange. I'm curious to see how much yellow I need to put down to get that wash to yield its maximum effect. We'll see. We'll try and go extra heavy on the scale pads. Yeah, any other areas? I'll probably put just a bit of orange over here. Okay, we get our safety stand and our crimson wash. Scratchbolt says clay and metal skeleton. Interesting. Yeah, I did a little bit of an armature for the Tyrannofex, and I found... Actually, I think I just used Sculptor's wire from Michaels. But then, using an epoxy, I found it made it fairly tough and rigid. Like, there was no... Like, that thing is going to break before the armature breaks. I've certainly darkened everything down. Well, it's to be expected. What really adds the brightness is the white, the flash, not the white. The flash gets yellow edge highlighting anyways. Though I do want to layer up a few more yellows. What time are we at? Alright, we're nearly halfway through our hobby session today. Okay, while that dries, let's get some Steel Legion drop going. Can I resurrect what's on my palette? Not really. I watched a little tutorial today on how to make banners out of steel, out of aluminum cans, soft drink cans. So I'm kind of pumped to take a stab at that for the Swooping Hawks. Because I would like the Swooping Hawks Exarch to have a banner. It'd be cool if all the Exarchs could have a banner. Yeah, let's catch up with chat. Punkstar says Krieg's got commissars and people with exploding lances on horses. People with exploding lances. I guess that's the cue they took for those rider reinforcements they made for the guard in 9th edition. Don't forget field marshals on horse too. Yeah, that's probably the unit I'm thinking of. That sounds right. And Silver Scratch says, my banners on the Titan are made from brown paper towels. Interesting. It's like a paper mache kind of approach with that. The tutorial I watched for the aluminum can banners was from a channel, I think Spence's Hobbies, I think. In any case, it's a pretty good tutorial, a good walkthrough. And it's kind of nice because you can work on the banner and then bend it to shape after the fact, which is pretty cool. You can get all your freehand or stenciling or whatever you want to do, decals, all done while it's flat. And then bend it to your pose's needs, which is, I think that's the preferred workflow, honestly. And that wash is nearly dry. So the low lights are probably close to where I'd want them. Probably close enough. I think when I did this first model, I got too excited and painted him as if he was like a character. And now it's screwed up the standard for everybody. Silver Scratch says, I just paint the banner and then cut it out and mount them. Interesting. Alright, before our black paint dries up, let's try and get a proper coat on this. On this metal grenade here. Punkstar says, I sometimes make banners by cutting out a shape with plastic card and gluing it to a popsicle stick. Interesting. It's hard for me to imagine that. I probably need to see a picture to get a proper understanding. Begin the yellowing. The yellowing of these fusion cells. And I suppose our guy's helmet. Here's a question for chat. Do you guys know of any good elf memes? I'm looking for an elf meme, ideally a video clip that I could use in a video. Ideally about going fast. That would be perfect. I wonder if there's anything like humorous from the Rings of Power that would work. I just haven't watched that show because I didn't care to. But I have a hunch that somewhere in that show's probably some hilarious memes with some of the elf characters. Hongstar suggestions are Legolas saying they're taking the Hobbits to Isengard remix. Okay, I'll check out that one. I'll check it out after stream, though. And... oh, there's plenty of videos. Okay, perfect. With dark, I'm going to line these grooves. Oh god, I just screwed it up. I just ruined it. Been nice chatting, but time to go, Silver Scratch Built. Not a problem. Thanks for joining in and sharing in the hobby camaraderie. You enjoy your evening. Take care, dude. Hey, Francois, Robin Hood, GB. Welcome. Flaming Dragon from Tropic Thunder. Yes! Look at this. The mark of true culture. There it is. Someone gets it. Flaming Dragon. Yes, Tropic Thunder reference. I'm glad someone was able to get it. It brings me much joy. Love the smell of napalm in the morning. Another nice quote. Henrietta, good to see you. How's it going? Henrietta says my orc deaf skull looks good. I just started Ultan Gray and White Scar highlights for half the face. I did mix my own a little Milne oil and paint their eyes red anyways. Very nice. Well, I'm happy to hear the progress is moving along swimmingly. It's by the sounds of it. And I think I'll take a break from the armor on this guy and go back to the building up that yellow on the helmet here. I think it's due for another pass. Oh my god, it's so thin. Maybe too thin. So Francois Robin Hood, what's on your hobby desk? Share with the gang, with chat. Let us feed off of the collective camaraderie. Keep that hobby morale high, if you catch what I mean. That's better. Still fairly thin, but I'm a little hesitant to apply the yellow paint too thick. It tends to clump up. It tends to get real chalky real fast. Thoughts on Punkstar says thoughts on D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons, but I very much like the idea of it. Ever since I saw it in that episode of Community, I've been like, this seems like a fun activity. And then I watched a few of Tabletop Tactics old, like when they first started doing D&D, back when Bones was still around. I watched a few of their D&D, and I was subscribing to them at the time too, so I was able to like catch the arc of the story, not just like every other episode. And I was like, this seems like with a good group, obviously, it seems very critical. You have that. It seems like it could be incredibly wholesome, and I don't know, like, I don't have the word for it, but I feel like it could be very sentimental. Like, probably something you might even look back on. You know what I mean? After you do this campaign for so long, and everyone's coming out in good faith and well-spirited. I think it could be something really special, for lack of a better word. Francois is still working this Knight Castigator. Just one more piece of the shin armor, and it'll be finished up to the Valiant. It'll be finished up to the waist. Just gotta finish this freehand planetary system. Ha, very cool. Henrietta says Death Dreads is the oldest and coolest model. Yeah, Death Dreads. The Death Dreads. Orc? Is that Death Dreads? Like for the orcs? If so, I'm familiar with that model, and they are very cool. Death Dreads, I'm not familiar with. Paint Games, I don't know anything. Says hello. Hello to you too, and welcome to the stream. Thanks for tuning in. How's it going? It's hella late, past midnight. I gotta get some sleep now. Well, I appreciate you tuning into the stream, and I appreciate the greeting. I bid you farewell. Death Dreads, yep. Purple orcs are the sneakiest? That's what I hear. Well, I've never seen any. So maybe it's true. Maybe it's true. Yeah, we'll get back to our orange buildup. Let's get some more yellow on this belt buckle. I feel like that should be fairly vibrant. Purple armor and guns and purple skin instead of green. Oh, this is getting pretty wild. What's the word on orcs? Must their skin be green? Can you go with weird different colors like with Kroot sometimes you see? Or Seraphon. I think that's what I'm thinking of actually. You see them in all sorts of different hues. I guess by the fantasy route, orcs are drawn out of maybe they're most suitable as green, right? That's like the classic, the traditional choice, right? Your base looks accidentally cool. It's like the stars. Oh, yeah. I suppose you're right. That's my airbrush because it's fairly sputtery with white, my white primer. So when I was trying to do the zenithal kind of pre-shading, just a bit of an experiment, it came out like the like the stars. That's funny. You're not wrong, Henrietta. You're not wrong. So I think after this coat of yellow, or this helmet should be ready for our Cassandora wash. Is that what it's called? Cassandora? Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's called. Oh, Francois, I checked out a tutorial on the aluminum can banner making. And as you said, it's fairly straightforward, and I'm definitely going to be going that route with the swooping hawks, which will be the aspects I tackle after the fire drakes. Fire dragons. Yeah, they're fire dragons. These are Artel flaming drakes. Which I call flaming dragons. It all gets very, very confusing. Punkster says, I don't think and orc players would mind a non-green skin color. Yeah, I have a feeling you're right. Francois says, waiting on some paperwork. I'll get to buy the neighbor's house. Oh, exciting acquisition. It's like, nice, yeah, soda can banners are the best medium in your opinion. Yeah, they seem very versatile. I just, like in the video I watched, the tutorial rather, I just loved being able to work on the banner while it's flat and then bend it into shape afterwards. So that seems like a huge quality of life to the workflow. Gotta tune out. Great stream. Well, you have a good evening, Punkstar. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the hobby camaraderie. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good evening. You're saying, yeah, Francois says, yeah, I don't know if I would go trying to bend, dry paint, just prime a pencil sketch, bend, and paint. Yeah, that could work too. I mean, based on the tutorial I watched, it seemed well enough. Though there weren't too many layers of paint. It was mostly airbrush layers that were varnished after the fact with some masking for stripes and a few decals, things like that. But I imagine if you're doing I don't know, some of my freehanding attempts they've been arduous, let's say, and there's quite a few layers if you like really look at them. And I imagine bending something like that would be, well, it would be prone to cracking and ruining all that work. So you're probably right. But if it's a simple pattern and decal, it seems, at least based on that tutorial, it seems pretty safe to bend them. Within reason, though, you can't bend it too much. There's only so much stress it'll take after all. Alright, this guy's armor's looking pretty good. As things are going time-wise, probably, well, most certainly won't be getting to any edge highlighting on his armor. So we'll leave that for a future hobby hang stream. We can work on other aspects of the model. Henrietta says that does look good. Better than me anyways. Well, look, I appreciate the compliment of what I'm painting here, but I find it's always better to compare one's work to their own standard. There's always better painters out there. Like every time I post anything to Instagram and I just browse one page over, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like I'm just dwarfed. I'm humbled immediately. So I think it's just all about enjoying the arc of your own progression, right? It is actually upon thinking on it, it is a fairly rewarding aspect of the hobby to track your own hobby skill growth. It says I'm still learning the basics. Oh, that's a great spot to be in, honestly. That's like where you have the most growth, really. You can kind of power level, so to speak, from there, right? With all the tutorials and like, you know, there's so many ways to obtain demonstrations on techniques. It's the old RPG thing. Like you have, if you're at a lower level in an RPG, you generally level up faster, or you have the means to level up faster, right? I think that's it's a funny example, but I think it applies. Probably applies to the acquisition of most endeavors, I would imagine. Francois says, yeah, I'm usually doing Dark Angels, so lots of checker patterns and such with decals. Sometimes Forge World brass etchings. Have tried a crazy freehand banner. Haven't tried, or probably haven't tried a crazy freehand banner yet. That'll happen when I do my Phantom. Nice. Yeah, Phantom's, that's a big one. That's a big one. Still not looking very solid. I'm going to stop being so conservative with the yellow. Francois says, I almost feel like color theory, understanding light and paint flow matter the most. And those can't really be learned except through personal experience and doing. I agree with that. That seems like a fairly astute assessment of the skills which are required for applying paint in a manner that looks pleasing. let's get some Cassandora going. Henrietta says I was doing production line painting and realized I enjoy painting a single mod, however bad it might be. Sure, you can learn some basics of color theory in art class and maybe a tip or two for light, but it's mostly just going to be practice. Yep, I agree with Francois' position here. And I agree with Henrietta. It's more enjoyable to paint a single model. Well, you get that reward, that dopaminergic reward when you're like, if each of these took, let's say, 4 hours, right? You're like, every 4 hours you get a nice reward of seeing a model that looks completed to a standard that you're satisfied with. Whereas you'd only get that reward after 20, right? It's like so much less enjoyable, I feel, if you're just doing the whole squad assembly line style. It is more time efficient, though, so maybe the math doesn't scale exactly like that. But I think my point stands. Put a little bit of orange down here. Probably should have done this before the wash. Oh well. Ooh well. That's not gonna work. We need to get some more deep green. It's actually a very, very nice color. That workflow you point out, Francois, is interesting. That would certainly keep the novelty high. I think the the most grueling assembly line of painting I've done has been 20 Hormagaunts in the, or maybe even 30. It might be 30 actually, of the old style Termagants for in the Hive Fleet Gengar scheme. And it's like 30 small Gribbly models that aren't the most exciting to look at, and you're putting dots on them. It's like, oh my god. Kill me, please. It's so bad. They have no staying power on the board, so it's like, oh, the amount of time I spent painting them, and they don't stick around at all. Francois says, yeah, as long as you got an army where everything is basically be the same color, get tired of X color, and pick another one. By the time you paint a Terminator, a Veteran HQ, you'll be ready for another basic Marine. That does help, certainly. Okay, let's get some dark sea gray and do the off-white of the plumes. I think I'm due to switch my palette paper also. It's looking a little bad. Oh, I have two metal Dire Avengers I want to paint. I just remembered because I'm painting these plumes here. Yeah, right now in my Dire Avenger squad, two of the models are 3D printed proxies because I have my Artel squad, and the rest of them are, I think, two OG metal ones I got from a buddy, and it was just a gift. And then I needed two more to have a squad of 10 because it's stupid in 10th edition to pay for 8 and not play with 10. But since then, my buddy Melon gave me two more metal Dire Avengers. Oh no, these are plastic. These are plastic Dire Avengers. But still, better than the 3D printed ones. The 3D printed ones I have are just way too tall. They're taller than these, and these are already fairly tall for... Like, they're slightly taller than the average Eldar model. The other ones are... they're on their way to Wraiths. Rumor has it Osterman is getting a new model. Makes the sense. Every Phoenix Lord ought to. I'll give them Dire Avengers a new kit also, probably. That's fine. I just hope he's not on a 50. I hope Osterman's on a 40, and then I can just use mine just fine. Oh, you had your army stolen, Francois. That sucks, dude. Man. Just the worst. Try a bit of contrast on the eyes today. Yeah, try something a little different on each one of them. You can pump up that green a little bit. Thinking about it, Army brings back memories though, eh, Francois? Have you ever considered breaking open a cheap black ink ballpoint pen? It makes a really neat super gloss oil slick. The black ink has some blues and coppers in it. No, I've not considered that. I wasn't aware that was a thing, honestly. I don't exactly understand the principle of what you're describing, but it sounds like a nifty hobby trick or shortcut. Punkster, you're back right in time for the stream's end, just like yesterday. Punk Star says that with the 40K. When do you think you'll be having another hobby hang? Would love to keep tuning in. They're a little informal, honestly, with the scheduling. I guess well, I shouldn't say that entirely. Usually it's Monday, Tuesdays, and then I don't really do any unless it's unscheduled until for the rest of the week. But this week I might be doing some streams with Space Marine 2. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, generally the hobby hangs are Monday, Tuesdays. Potentially Sundays if I'm not at my local game store. Like with this past Sunday, I did a hobby stream instead. But I am happy to hear that you're enjoying them. That's awesome. Okay, so with that wash dried, I guess I can build up the yellows a little bit more. I don't want to throw out this palette. There's still good paint here. This palette paper, rather. I'm going to use some of that brighter green also to enhance this a little bit. Our loincloth. Don't think I did edge highlighting on these sashes, these robes on the other models. Which I really should. And they'll only look better for it. Google Knot. Heyo. What's the word? Working on a Wraith Lord. Welcome, Google Knot. Welcome. I was actually gonna wrap up the stream shortly. That's what's up. But I'm happy to hear you got a Wraith Knight or Wraith Lord you're working on. Love me some Wraith Lords. Love me some Wraith. Man, the Wraith Lord desperately needs more data sheets for the different variants and build options. As does the classic Carnifex, really. Let me get some bronze going. Maybe we'll hobby for a little bit more. Feel bad. Feel a little bad for Google Knot. It comes to the stream and I'm over here like, sorry, gotta go. But for next stream, we got a pretty good base of colors down here. We should be able to get this guy done, I think. All right, the wrist spirit stones. I forgot about those on the other guys. And we can do them real quick. Just a dab. I was thinking of maybe making these stones blue to contrast a bit more, but part of me feels like, well, there's two reasons I didn't. Partially because I want to flex the Beal-Tan allegiance, of course, but also if I ever wanted to have a second squad, maybe that's a fun way to differentiate the different units, right? The different spirit stone colors. That it is very subtle, admittedly, but it's a nice little detail. Nice little point of distinction. All right, we're 10 minutes over time, people. 10 minutes over time. This was a productive hobby session, though, and I thank you all for your company. And look at this, guys. Looking pretty good. Definitely better than how he started, I'll say. All right, he's looking kind of in line with his bros. Yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there. Anyways, thanks to everyone who tuned in and liked the stream, everyone who chatted and shared in the hobby camaraderie. You guys are the real hobby heroes. Yes, Punk Star, it ends. Unfortunately, you know what? Unfortunately, I was hoping, Shy Onion from from last stream would show up today. Because it was a kind of a funny thing that happened at the end of yesterday's stream. But I'm sure they'll show up at some point, and I'll address it. But anyways, yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in and liked the stream, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya!